everyone. My name is Dr. Koyal Verma and I have been teaching you the course on community engagement and social responsibility. Today, I want to talk about something very simple yet profoundly difficult: learning how to pay attention. Community engagement at its core is not about solving problems or designing projects. It begins with the ability to see, listen, and remain present with the community's everyday realities. Research gives us a structure for doing this. It teaches us how to enter a space slowly, carefully, and respectfully, and how to let people's lived experiences guide our understanding. So, today, I want to introduce you to a set of research ideas that can strengthen how you approach your community projects. These are not heavy theories. These are the ways of thinking and noticing. They help us to understand what it means to engage ethically and responsibly with communities. The ideas are: number 1, researcher as instrument; number 2, thick description; number 3, situated knowledge and lived experiences; number 4, social ecology; and number 5, relational ethics. Let's walk through each one. Researcher as instrument. Number 1, you are the tool. So, in qualitative research, there is a powerful phrase: the researcher is the instrument. This means your ability to engage a community does not depend on fancy tools, surveys, or questionnaires. It depends on your clarity of observation, your willingness to suspend judgment, your humility, and your sensitivity to what lies beneath the surface. Students often walk into communities carrying forms and checklists, eager to collect data. But communities can feel that. They know when the researcher is simply extracting information. The idea of researcher as instrument invites you to think differently. How do I enter the field? What energy do I bring into a conversation? Do people feel comfortable with me? And am I listening for meaning or just for answers? Your body language, tone, patience, and empathy are the part of your research technique. This idea is powerful because it makes you accountable for who you are during the research, not just what you produce afterward. Thick description is how you learn to see layers. Clifford Geertz, an anthropologist, introduced the concept of thick description, which means describing not only what people do, but the layers of meaning behind what they do. For example, if you see a group of women meeting under a tree, thin description might say, women gather daily to discuss household issues. But thick description asks, why do they meet in that space? What social norms shape who speaks and who doesn't? What histories of cooperation exist? How does this gathering reflect local power or solidarity? Thin descriptions give you data. Thick descriptions give you understanding. When you do field work for your community project, thick description teaches you to take notes that capture conversation patterns, body language, silences, emotions, rituals, symbols, and the environment. It teaches us to slow down enough to see texture, not just facts. Lived experiences and situated knowledge in which people know their world are also very important to understand. Donna Haraway is another very important scholar who talks about situated knowledge. The idea that all knowledge emerges from someone's position in the world. This concept is crucial for community engagement because it reminds us communities are not just subjects of research, they are producers of knowledge. Women who navigate water scarcity daily know far more about its emotional, physical, and social costs than any policy document. Street vendors understand urban governance in ways that planners often overlook. Elderly residents know the rhythms, memories, and histories that shape collective life. When you enter a community, remember you are entering an already existing knowledge system. People carry expertise embedded in their bodies and histories. And your task is not to replace their knowledge with yours, but to understand how they see the world. This is the heart of responsible engagement. Valuing lived experience as legitimate knowledge is very, very crucial. Number 4, social ecology as a concept is again very layered. To understand community engagement, it helps to think in terms of social ecology, a concept that explores how individuals are shared and shaped by multiple layered environments. For instance, micro level, that is family, neighbors, and peers. Number 2, meso level, local institutions, school, panchayat, ward committees. Number 3, exo level, which is policy, market, migration pattern. And number 4, macro level, where culture, norms, caste, and gender systems come. This framework helps you to see what and how to understand local problems. You are actually looking at something that is shaped by many levels of context. For example, if you study dropout rates among adolescents, you might find pressures at home, which is micro, school practices, meso, state exam policies, exo, and broader gender norms, macro. Social ecology teaches you that engagement requires an appreciation of the surrounding ecosystem, not just the immediate symptoms. It prevents simplistic interpretations and encourages deeper, multi-layered thinking. Number 5, a very important concept, which is relational ethics, is how we treat people matters as much as what we learn. Finally, I want to introduce you with this concept of relational ethics to highlight the idea that responsibility is not just about formal ethics, which is consent, forms, anonymity, but about the quality of relationships you build in the field. Caroline Ellis, who writes about relational ethics, reminds us that research relationships require respect, accountability, sensitivity, reciprocity, and care. Relational ethics make you ask, am I entering this space respectfully? Am I taking more than I can give? How do I share back what I learn? How do I honor trust? It reframes community engagement from a project to a relationship you must carry with integrity. Putting it all together, let's imagine how these concepts could guide a simple community project, say, understanding challenges faced by elderly residents in a neighborhood. Number 1, researcher as an instrument. You pay attention to how you approach elders with patience, sensitivity, and humility. Thick description. You observe not just what they say, but how they relate to each other, how they navigate public space, what emotions arise. And number 3, situated knowledge. Your respect and to their lived experiences as experts. Years of navigating healthcare, mobility, loneliness, and community life. Number 4, social ecology. You examine how institutional arrangements and families, housing, and cultural attitudes towards aging shape their experience. And number 5, relational ethics. You build trust, explain your work clearly, return to share findings, and treat the relationship as meaningful, not extractive. This is not just research. This is a form of community responsibility, engaging with care, depth, and humility. Closing reflections. Community engagement is not about identifying problems or designing interventions. It is about learning how to see contexts, relationships, emotions, knowledge, yourself, and seeing the community not as a site of need, but as a site of wisdom. Research gives us a tool not to understand communities, but to grow as responsible individuals. When you approach your project through these ideas, researcher as instrument, thick description, lived experience, social ecology, and relational ethics, you develop not just skills, but a way of being. A way of being that is attentive, respectful, thoughtful, and responsible. Thank you.